a box they can check on their weekend to-do list.
Let's take another quick 2-minute break here on News Now from Fox.
History on voting rights and related issues, and you've laid out all the times he's spoken about it, but this lectern is available to him today. We have not heard him talk about it. He has the biggest megaphone
Aside from
in the
the Tulsa speech just a few weeks ago?
No, I'm talking about when the vote is happening, using the president's time. And so clearly the president is choosing not to do that now. Why? Where is the president on this issue on a day when they're voting?
I would say first that the president has spoken passionately about his commitment to expanding access to voting rights a number of times, and you will hear him speak about this again. You certainly will hear us. We'll put out a statement from him at the conclusion of the vote today, and I expect you'll hear more from him in the coming days as well.
On another subject with COVID, former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb is among the voices saying he's concerned that children who are not yet eligible to be vaccinated could be drivers of the variant, especially with school coming back and camps and all of that. What specifically does the administration feel needs to be done to address that issue for those not yet even eligible to be vaccinated?
Well, as a parent of a couple kids myself who are not yet eligible to be vaccinated, I think the challenge is we need to be vigilant and abide by the CDC guidelines. That's not always easy to do, and we know that. And that means, being mindful of social distancing, being mindful of where mask wearing should be essential to keep your kids protected and keep other kids protected. Certainly we can't expedite the work of the FDA. They're the gold standard in science, and we want them to abide by whatever timeline works for them. But it does mean, which again is challenging, abiding by the guidelines for children and those who are not yet eligible until we get to that point. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. You said yesterday the president feels a great deal of the crime we're seeing is a result of gun violence, but the stats show it's not just gun crimes. So why does the president think there's been a 30% increase in car thefts in D.C., 47% increase in robbery in New York City, or a 98% increase in rapes in Atlanta?
Well, first, I think if you look at a number of cities across the country, it is actually driven by gun violence. Take St. Louis. In 2021, 96% of homicides where the instrument is known were committed using a firearm. In New York City, from March 2020 to March 2021, shooting incidents have jumped 77%. The city recorded more than 1,500 shootings in 2020, 97% more than 777 in 2019. There are major cities across the country where gun violence is absolutely the driver, where it is absolutely increasing. And that will be a central part of what he'll talk about when he delivers his remarks tomorrow.
And given everything that is going on with guns, without guns, does the president still think that this is the best time to end cash bail?
I don't think I have any new position on that for you, but I'm happy to check and see if there's anything more to report.
So his stated position from his website, which is that basically end cash bail, he wants to lead a national effort to end cash bail and reform the pretrial system, that stands?
I don't have a new position for you, but I'm happy to check for you.
And so for people who are watching who might be worried about a rise in crime, what does the president think is a deterrent to committing a crime if there's no cash bail in place?
Well, let me give you just a sense to the degree I can, because we're still finalizing the specifics. There's been, an increase in violent crime over the last 18 months. It's not just over the last few months. And actually, if you look statistically back, it's more over the last 5 years or so. So there's an initial set of actions the president has announced to date to address gun violence back in April, strengthening regulations on ghost guns, stabilizing braces that make firearms more lethal, investing money in community violence intervention programs, an investment that he thinks can be quite effective. He's talked about for decades, and I think you'll hear him talk about more tomorrow, supporting additional funding for community policing through his budget request and helping state and local governments keep cops on the beat. So yes, we believe that a central driver of violence is gun violence and is the use of guns. We're seeing that statistically in a lot of areas, but he also believes that we need to ensure that state and local governments keep cops on the beat, that we're supporting community policing, and that's a key part of it as well.
And just the last one, you just said again, you guys want to keep cops on the beat, but there are reports that big cities are having a very difficult time recruiting officers right now, and there are many other reports that morale is at an all-time low in big police departments. So why does the president think that there's low morale with police officers on the beat?
I don't think we're the right entity to give an assessment of that. I'd certainly look to the police departments to give that assessment. But what I would say to you is that the president has never supported defunding the police. He's always supported community policing programs. He's supported giving funding to states and localities around the country, including through his American Rescue Plan, because he thinks there is an essential role to play for community policing. Go ahead, Andrea.
I want to ask you about infrastructure.